with the anxiety. These go on for more than 2 weeks up to 6 months, you know there's a problem, and you feel you can't have a control of it, you can't go to work, you can't function every day, you know that there's something underlying. Please get that looked into. So the next issue that's also common is trauma. So trauma is an emotional response to distressing or disturbing events. With trauma, we experience something frightening every day. Trauma is where you've gone something so intense that it affects your day-to-day life. Again, it's very much about how it affects your functioning, and that's how you know when something's wrong. So with trauma, you might have things like flashbacks. So even though you're in the present moment, there could be a slight trigger and you go back to that very incident. You could have things like hyperarousal, where you experience overly concentrated and lack of concentration, and it very much affects your emotions as well. Now, one thing I would say with trauma is it can vary. So you can be in a domestic abuse relationship and not experience any trauma because you have to deal with what's going on there and then in that particular moment. Once you come out of that trauma, a lot of those times these present then. So after you've actually had that issue and you've had to logically deal with it, that's when the emotions become overwhelmed. So please be mindful of that. That although you might feel like you're dealing with it in the here and now and that it's okay, you might notice those symptoms come after. And that can then lead to PTSD. So trauma is very much the start. Before it then becomes what we call post-traumatic stress disorder, which again is an official disorder, if those symptoms last more than a month or longer. So the flashbacks, the anxiety, those triggers, you can't go to those places where that incident happened. If you feel like you're avoiding these places and these incidents happen where you have those nightmares and those dreams, and you're going on for longer than a month, then that could be PTSD. And we see this a lot in, like I say, domestic abuse victims and survivors. We see this in people who are getting on for a car crash, for example, where they'll have a car crash, they feel perfectly fine, 2 weeks later they find that they can't get themselves in the car and drive again, they have so much anxiety, it's a trigger. So although we think about trauma as something like sexual abuse, domestic abuse, it can be other things as well, like a car crash, or even losing someone, because there is something called traumatic grief as well. If you've lost someone instantly, you can still have PTSD or traumatic symptoms. And the next one we have is personality disorders. Now, there's quite a few different personality disorders that one can be diagnosed with, but again, it's a label, you don't need that label. I think one of the most common ones that people know about is borderline personality disorder, which is now called emotionally unstable personality disorder. And that's where an individual has very high emotions. So sometimes it can be really high, sometimes it can be low, and they find difficulty being able to maintain relationships and socialise. And the next one that we have is schizophrenia. Now, I put this in on purpose because a lot of people in our Asian community especially, when somebody starts to have delusions or hallucinations, they automatically think it's black magic or she's got a Jinn inside her. That's not always the case, it's not always spiritual. There is an actual disorder called schizophrenia, where you have delusions, so you start believing in things that are not there. For example, I'm Superwoman as an example, and you start actually believing in that. You can have hallucinations where you start hearing things and you start seeing things that are not there. Other things are disorganized speech, where you can't physically talk clearly, and also other negative symptoms as well that are connected. Now, as well as schizophrenia, the hallucinations and delusions also come under what we call psychosis. Now, psychosis isn't a specific mental health disorder, it's actually symptoms. So you can have depression and have a psychotic episode where you have delusions and hallucinations. A lot of people who are postnatal depression have psychosis as well. So just to be aware, it's not always connected to black magic and jinns, that these are actual diagnosed mental health issues, and that people are actually treating medication and are healing from it. And that takes me on to the next thing, which is what Islam says about mental health. So I don't know if this link is going to work, but basically what this short video says is that although in Islam we tend to focus, and I know a lot of religions do have that spiritual side as well, where they focus on things like jinn, like evil eyes, like spirits, there is actually an other side to it. So I don't know if you can get that video working on YouTube. Are we able to get audio on this already? He used to believe in black magic and the jinns, and that was his go-to. when actually he's learned that mental health is real. And in this particular video, he states quotes from the Quran and Hadith when he tells stories about people seeking help for mental health, and he states that they are professionals. There are professionals out there to help you. So please open your mind up, look beyond spirituality, and see that there are a lot of options out there. That's basically the main message. So overall, I just want to say that mental health is real. They are complex and they can affect your day-to-day life. And it's important to understand how they do that in order for you to get the right help that you need. Identify it early. If you feel as if you notice changes in your mood, you notice changes in your behaviours, you don't understand why, get the help. Sometimes there's an underlying cause. It could be that something happened years ago and your mind and body's just starting to deal with that now. That's okay. As long as you get the help and support that you need, that's all that matters, and that's what we're here for. Thank you.